The 30th race of the 2021 season. Jonathan Rea, 12 times winner here in Portimao. The master versus reigning world number 4, Toprak Razgatlioglu, who's matched him so far for victories this campaign. The pretender. Race 1 of the 2021 Motul Portuguese round from the Algarve International Circuit gets underway. It's a good start from Jonathan Rea, who's going to be first to the first turn. Toprak Razgatlioglu has made a decent enough jump. Drag race down to the first bend. It's Scott Redding trying to make progress. He's come around the outside of Leon Haslam and into third position. Jonathan Rea comes scything through at turn 2 to hit the front on Razgatlioglu, who will try to respond. He has to be cautious into the slightest corner on the circuit, turn 3, so as not to go up the back of his main title rival. It's Rea in front, where he loves to be here in Portimao and where he's been so often down the years. Razgatlioglu might have an opportunity to respond in towards turn 5. He has. Razgatlioglu through on Rea. Redding sees this as an opportunity, and Scott Redding, after a good start, is going to get into the mix at the head of the field. Toprak Razgatlioglu wide, and Jonathan Rea sees that as an opportunity. He comes through. Toprak will try to immediately respond as they come through turn 12. That's not a place where you conventionally see riders going side by side. Razgatlioglu then offline. Rea struggling to get it stopped. Razgatlioglu barges into the side of Jonathan Rea. Get out of the way, I'm coming through. Rea's going to do a little bit more of the same now, I fancy, as we come towards the end of lap number 2. Redding is there in third, ready to pick up the pieces. Can he make it work at the end of the second lap and back into turn 1 on lap number 3? Rea is even closer this time around. Razgatlioglu even bolder on the brakes. These two continuing to push one another to ever increasing highs, and Rea with another moment there into turn 1. He's giving it everything. We're going to see this action again at the front.
See Rea gets down the inside. This is into turn 13. Toprak takes back that inside line. Big contact between them. I thought in the run down into turn 1, the red mist might have made the difference for Jonathan Rea to try and make that move into 1. But Toprak too strong in the brakes. You can see into there. Rea runs in a bit deep, runs in a little bit too hot. Manages to actually collect himself well, but down into 13 the same again.
Dear, oh dear, these two are throwing their bikes at one another in race 1. What a spectacle here at the Algarve International Circuit. Razgatlioglu now tries to respond, but he thinks better of it. Toprak so strong in the brakes at the end of this start-finish straight, over 900 metres to build up their speed, up to over 310 kilometres per hour before they're on the brakes. And look at that from Scott Redding. Redding has found his way through to the front before turn 1. Razgatlioglu pushed slightly offline, caught by surprise.
Yeah, you can see Scott got a great run through that last corner, able to get a double toe as well. Toprak's going to run in a little bit hot. Contact again maybe there between the Kawasaki and the Yamaha rider.
And Jonathan Rea comes scything through. We watch it from the rearward view from Scott Redding, who is still your race leader. Redding, Rea and Razgatlioglu in towards turn 1. It's all about the championship fight between Rea, who has a massive moment at the start of lap 5, and Razgatlioglu, who capitalises to come through for second. The inside line now at the head of turn 11. They'll drop down now 16 metres through towards turn 12, and Rea's got the position ahead of Razgatlioglu.
Yeah, what was strange was over the top of the leap, you could see Rea got a real run on Toprak as well. Now you can see that wide line for Redding into 13. Leaves the door open for Rea, but Redding on the inside run, is he going to be able to hold on to the position? Not quite. That's going to create that bit of a buffer now between Toprak and Rea. So Toprak needs to jump the Ducati as quickly as possible.
Yes, that's exactly what Toprak Razgatlioglu... Jonathan Rea is down! Jonathan Rea is down from the race lead in Portimao. He's been defeated just once around this venue on Kawasaki machinery, but race 1 comes to a premature end in the gravel trap. He was pushing 100%, and Rea falls from the lead at the end of lap number 5 in what could be a turning point for this 2021 World Championship.
You can see just how fast it is by how much Rea slips across that gravel as well. That's a massive crash for Rea. Good to see that he was able to walk away from it.
Rinaldi now comes breezing past Haslam. They're almost 5 abreast in towards turn 1 at the start of lap number 9. It's not just at the front of the field, ladies and gentlemen, where you can have great racing here in World SBK. It's also for third position here today. Rinaldi's through, Baz is through. The cork that was in the battle is now gone. Bikes left, right and centre still in the fight for third position. The back of the shot there, an inside move here for Michael van der Mark is going to be smoothed through somewhat easier by the fact that Andrea Locatelli has left the circuit altogether. Toprak Razgatlioglu at the start of lap 11 comes scything through to hit the front. He looked to have a good run coming off the final turn at the end of lap number 10. We're past half race distance, and if things stay as they are at present, Toprak Razgatlioglu will extend his lead over Jonathan Rea to 45 World Championship points. We're going to see this move on board with Toprak Razgatlioglu. That's what a rocket looks like, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, we know what Toprak's biggest strength is. It's on the brakes. We know that Ducati struggles a little bit on the brakes. So it's two factors coming into play there. And Toprak, that's candy from a baby for him.
Alvaro Bautista comes through for a provisional podium place on lap 12. Michael Ruben Rinaldi's going to leave the circuit altogether. Leon Haslam as well. Michael van der Mark comes past the pair of them. Andrea Locatelli is going to get back into the mix. So a completely new order. We switch back to this battle for third position at just the right moment. Bautista through on Baus for P3. Van der Mark up to 5th. Rinaldi running off the circuit does rejoin in front of Andrea Locatelli, who's 7th after his earlier off-track excursion at turn 1. And Leon Haslam has dropped all the way now to the back of this group in 8th position. Van der Mark on the attack against Baz. Baz losing speed at this stage of the race. Nice work from Alvaro Bautista once again. Michael van der Mark with a little bit of a wobble coming off the final turn. Loris Baz getting into the slipstream of Alvaro Bautista, comes out of it and then has to duck back in again. Baz will be deep on the brakes. He's determined to get through on the number 19. That's brilliant work from the Go 11 man. He's up into the podium places, has been a podium finisher here in Portimao previously, and Bautista then gets offline, a little bit ragged. Van der Mark picks his pocket as well. Bautista recovering nicely. These two scrapping among themselves. This is a real opportunity for Loris Baz now to escape away.
Yeah, you can see how one corner leads into the next in Portimao. If you're a little bit offline on one, it impacts you greatly on the next. Oh!
Down goes Michael van der Mark and down goes Andrea Locatelli in avoiding action. Synchronised falling at the ever perilous turn 5.
Locatelli coming down the inside there, and from too far back tags the back of Van der Mark. Both of them go down.
Yes, the merest of glancing blows, but it was certainly enough to unsettle Michael van der Mark, who goes down, and likewise for Andrea Locatelli, the speeds they're doing. And Michael van der Mark with a little bit of afters there, just helping Andrea Locatelli to rush back to his bike.
Just making sure the airbags are working down there, but handbags as well on the run into turn 5. That's taking them both out of that podium battle. It's going to elevate Loris Baz into around about a half a second lead over Alvaro Bautista. Leon has them up into the top 5 now as well. And you can see at the front of the field the last couple of laps, Scott Redding's been able to close right up on Toprak and now takes the race lead once again. Scott
Redding through at the start of lap 16. Razgatlioglu will go deeper on the brakes. Razgatlioglu with a big moment there into turn 1. He doesn't need to be risking it like this. Second place in race 1 will see him double his championship lead to 40 points. But Toprak still sniffs a race victory, and he's a born winner, this man. He's determined to take the 25 championship points today.
And you can see on the run into 1, comes from far back to try and make the move on Redding. We saw earlier on that he really came from a long way back to take the race lead a few laps ago. I hope for Toprak's sake that he's able to just come away from this one with the podium, because right now he doesn't need to take those unnecessary risks. He's got a chance of being able to open up at least a 40-point lead in the World Championship. And they're points stolen in some ways, because it would have been expected coming here that Jonathan Rea was going to be able to really give himself the chance of those big points paying finishes. But Toprak's under pressure from Redding now at this stage. The Ducati clearly looks like it's got an advantage right now.
Scott Redding breezing past coming off the final turn. He set it up with a wide entry to turn 15, makes a long straight of it. He gets to the front. Razgatlioglu forces Scott Redding to lift his right leg as they go in towards turn number 1. Razgatlioglu not giving an inch here, and whilst that's understandable against Jonathan Rea, it's slightly less understandable against Scott Redding, and there's an ever-present danger here that if Redding collects Razgatlioglu, the pair of them could end up scoreless. Redding has been able to make his gains. Has Razgatlioglu got any kind of answer as they come through turn 15? Of course, we've seen Jonathan Rea go off there in dramatic style earlier on. Redding takes the wider sweep once again. It gives him a launch coming off that final turn and into the slipstream on top Razgatlioglu. He's not quite as close this lap around, just over a tenth of a second behind as they cross the timing beam, but this time Redding is all out of shape as he makes his way determinedly through into turn 1. He's left the apex, he's left the door open. Razgatlioglu is back through. Redding is going to be fuming at this stage because he feels that he's got the pace to take this race lead and race victory. race for third position. Alvaro Bautista has held it. Loris Baz fights his way back through. These two also have been swapping and changing for the final step on the podium. They've shaken off Michael Ruben Rinaldi and Leon Haslam after their earlier dramas and leaving the circuit altogether. And now it's a two-horse race for both first and third positions.
Toprak's been able to open up enough of a gap. Scott had his opportunity a couple of laps ago and wasn't quite able to hold on to the race lead. Toprak's been able to do that. He's going to give himself the chance. These 25 points riding just a bit too far back, even though he's been really strong out of that last corner. The start-finish line comes just a little bit too early here in Portimao.
Yes, Toprak has built enough of a buffer. Even that brilliant final turn run will not be enough for Scott Redding. It's going to be Toprak Razgatlioglu. Razgatlioglu then exits the final turn. He will more than double his championship lead. He's seen his title rival Jonathan Rea fall in race 1 in Portimao, and we have a new professor of Portimao. It's Toprak Razgatlioglu, your race 1 winner, and Alvaro Bautista down in the latter stages of race 1. Loris Baz is back on the World SBK podium. He takes third position. Rinaldi, Haslam and Gerloff round out your top 6 in a real race of attrition here at the Algarve International Circuit. Just 7 races remaining in 2021. Jonathan Rea has never been behind at this stage of any of his title-winning campaigns, and he will trail with 2 rounds to go, regardless of what happens this afternoon in the Algarve. Race 2 of the 2021 Motul Portuguese round. And there's a hold-up on the grid. Jonathan Rea waving. The lights went on momentarily and then were immediately off.
So, after a technical problem on the start line, we had to do it all over again. Race distance was reduced by a lap. That meant a new distance of 19. Who would come out on top? It's time to find out with Alex Raby and Steve English, your commentators.
Second time of asking after an aborted first start to race 2 of the 2021 Motul Portuguese round. We get underway this time. A stinker of a start from Loris Baz, who'll get swallowed up in the drag race down to turn 1. Andrea Locatelli through. Toprak Razgatlioglu already through to third. Toprak moves through to third. Should be fairly straightforward for him to get through on Locatelli as well for second position. Scott Redding, as we expected, has hit the front. Michael van der Mark swiftly pushed backwards. Brilliant start from Jonathan Rea. He's already up into P5, so he's the latest rider to move through on Baz. Rinaldi also now coming through on Loris Baz. He's dropped down to 8th position. Razgatlioglu within striking distance of Andrea Locatelli as they come in towards turn 5. Not quite. Axel Bassani with a good jump, but he's now swallowed up by Jonathan Rea. So our top 2 in the championship standings are 3 and 4 on track. Jonathan Rea very close to the tail of Toprak Razgatlioglu. Toprak is getting bunched up behind his teammate Andrea Locatelli. Rea decides that it's now or never. In towards turn 11, catches Razgatlioglu by surprise. Jonathan Rea, within a lap from 10th on the grid, is up inside the podium places. Another big moment coming off the final turn at the end of lap number 1. He's alongside Locatelli now for second position. This is going to be a determined effort from Jonathan Rea. Through to second by the end of the opening lap from 10th on the grid. Razgatlioglu now through into third. So our title rivals, who are 6th and 10th on the line, are already up into second and third positions. And Rea is on the march, ready to attack Scott Redding already. Rea is looking menacing. We ride on board with him now through the double right-hander of turns 7 and 8.
Yeah, Rea said to me on Friday that he hasn't felt the Kawasaki as good as this all the way through the season. Finally able to get that bike stopped on full lean angle on the run into the corners. He feels really good. He's going to have a chance of getting down the inside into Craig Jones' corner. That's a brave place to make the move. It's 12 to P1 in a lap and a half for Jonathan Rea.
That is utterly outrageous from Jonathan Rea. Scott Redding comes breezing around the outside of Jonathan Rea before the breaking point, and Razgatlioglu gets through as well. Bit of slipstream advantage there for the 2 riders behind Jonathan Rea, who's gone from first to third. Razgatlioglu nose to tail with Scott Redding as they come towards turn 5 at the start of sector 2. We know he's been arriving on the apex as Scott Redding has been putting it. Redding sweeps back around, holds on to the race lead. Jonathan Rea is still with him. He's all out of shape at times though. Jonathan Rea's pushing hard. Fastest of the lead trio on lap 2 was Toprak Razgatlioglu. They come across the line now to complete lap 3. Toprak in the slipstream of Reading doesn't lose quite as much ground this lap around. They're coming towards turn 1. Razgatlioglu is so deep in the brakes. Smoke comes out from the rear as he makes his way to a stop. He's missed the apex altogether. It's going to allow Reading to come through, and Rea is able to follow him past. So a little bit of opportunism there from Toprak Razgatlioglu, but also a little bit of over-ambition into turn 1.
Scott Redding running a little bit wide. That opens the door for Jonathan Rea. Is Razgatlioglu going to follow him through? Scott Redding able to use the power of the Ducati to still hold on to that second spot.
This race has got a long way to go. We might have lost a lap because of the dramas in the initial start. Reading very wide again. Scott Redding lost a position through turn 5, running wide on the entry. He's lost another now. So it's Rea versus Razgatlioglu, the title rivals at the head of the field. Coming to complete lap 6. Toprak's going to breeze through here. He'll get it done before the braking zone by the looks of it. He goes to the outside of Jonathan Rea. Rea's going to try and sweep across to claim the position, but he's not close enough to do so. Toprak Razgatlioglu, new fastest lap of the race at 1:41.522, and a new race leader for race 2 here in Portimao. Razgatlioglu was a little bit wide through 7 and 8. It gave Jonathan Rea the run through turn 8. He's now close enough to strike as they come in towards turn 11. Razgatlioglu going for his conventional racing line, leaves the door wide open, and Jonathan Rea recovers the lead on lap 7. Reading with a move here on Razgatlioglu. He's got alongside him much earlier, and that's the aggression that Scott Redding promised. He said, if you're going to take the fight to me, I'm going to give you some of the same. And Redding moves across Razgatlioglu there into the braking zone before turn 1. Toprak was wise to that though, and recovers P2.
You can see Reading losing a little bit of ground now in the last couple of sectors. Lost a quarter of a second in the last sector as Toprak starts to stretch out a little bit of pace. And certainly right now it does.
There goes Toprak Razgatlioglu from second position at the final turn of lap 10. We have a title race on our hands in World SBK in 2021. I cannot believe what I am seeing. The first mistake of the campaign for Toprak Razgatlioglu, exactly where 24 hours ago it looked as though Jonathan Rea had thrown away the world title aspirations for this season.
You're going to see the front just come across. Ooh.
Mechanical
there for Toprak. The fender just braking for him on the Yamaha, and that's
chain flailing as well, Steve. I don't know whether there was a failure there on his way in, but certainly Razgatlioglu can't be held to account for that incident by the looks of things.
No, not at all. And for Toprak there, again, he's had 3 retirements this season. Looks like 3 that weren't his fault.
Loris Baz is closing down Locatelli. Opportunity to make his move. The Go 11 substitute rider, and Alvaro Bautista with his customary turn of speed down the start-finish straight comes through. Locatelli runs off the circuit altogether. Bautista goes from 5th to 3rd and back to 4th again. Loris Baz is in the podium positions, and it's going to be Baz versus Bautista again for P3.
And you can see for Toprak, he comes back into the pits, and certainly looked like a mechanical issue for Toprak, but at least able to walk back to the pits, and you can see just how much energy gets dissipated in a crash like that. Such a fast place to come off for Toprak through turn 15. On the run down into 1, and look at how good he is on the run into that corner as well. Just a little bit difficult to get it stopped, and Baz able to slide back in underneath turn 2, but certainly Baz is going to find this a real hassle all the way to the flag.
He goes to the outside into turn 1. Loris Baz will try and muscle him out of the way. Loris Baz stands up Alvaro Bautista, holds the inside line, holds the apex, and holds 3rd position. Starting lap 17, Jonathan Rea leads by 4.5 seconds from Scott Redding in 2nd position. It's all about the race for 3rd at this stage. Baz versus Bautista. They're just making their way past our commentary position in towards turn 1. Bautista gets alongside, and crucially this time he's got the inside line, but he's missed the apex, and Baz slots back through for a 2nd time in 2 laps.
See Bautista attacks into 5.
Loris Baz wide again into turn 5, and this time he has left the door wide. Oh, down goes Bautista. Baz slams into the side of him coming off turn 5. Bautista immediately shakes his fist in fury because on this occasion, Loris Baz has clattered into the side of Alvaro Bautista, and the number 19 Honda is in the gravel trap again. But this time they'll be talking about it long after this race is over.
Bautista comes down the inside. Baz is able to hold that tighter line, and he's on pretty much his normal line.
P1, vamos, let's go! And it's time to head towards Argentina with the championship deficit narrowed to 24 points just when you thought it couldn't get any better. The stakes continue to rise. Utterly incredible race 2 it has been here in Portimao. The Professor of Portimao, they call him, Jonathan Rea, exits the final turn to win again in 2021 and to reignite his championship challenge. The deficit is halved. Jonathan Rea wins again.